So, big announcement that just came out today. WWE announced that starting July 23rd, Raw is going to be 3 hours from now on. Wow. You know, I've got a real mixed reaction about this because this could go one of two ways. Obviously, it could be positive or negative. Now, thing is, this could be positive. And why, you might ask? Why in the time when WWE seems like it's headed downhill, it's basically WWE is like this. It's basically like you took a barrel and just kicked it down a hill and it keeps rolling and rolling, and it just keeps getting lower and lower down the hill. So that's pretty much how WWE is. And the thing is, when they have a 3 hour Raw, it's usually filled with a lot of gimmicky bullshit, a lot of like bloated promos, and it's very, very light on wrestling. Sometimes, if we're lucky, we might get a good match thrown in, but it's rare. And they've had a lot of these 3 hour Raws the past couple of years. Now back in the day during the Attitude Era, they didn't need to do a 3 hour Raw because 2 hours was good enough. And they had SmackDown on top of that, starting at the end of 1999. So there really wasn't a lot of need for 3 hours. Now, why is 3 hours a good idea? If the product is fucking suffering, why would you increase the show? I mean, that just makes Raw bloated. 3 hours is a long time. Now, Nitro was 3 hours in 1998. When I first started watching WCW Nitro, I started watching it in 1998, and it was 3 hours. There's one major difference is that this was during the Monday Night Wars, when wrestling was the fucking shit. Now it's just shit. So you can see where I'm really coming from on this one. It's not really the best idea to take something that's already shit and extend it, because you could possibly be extending the shittiness. However, it could help it. There'll be longer matches, but I just feel that if WWE booked a little bit smarter and more intelligently, then perhaps, if they did it with any sensibility or logic, then perhaps they wouldn't need an additional hour. Now, I understand that, that they have a lot of wrestlers on the roster that don't get a lot of exposure, but somehow I don't see that happening. Raw is a super show, and with 3 hours, like, I don't really, unless they're going to take away the super show part of Raw, I don't see why it's necessary, because you got 2 hours of programming every week from each show. You got SmackDown, that's already 2 hours, so why do we need an additional hour for the other show? Isn't that going to make Raw look more important than SmackDown? Now, I know normally Raw is more eventful than SmackDown most of the time. I mean, most of the major announcements and major returns like Brock Lesnar always happen on Raw, not SmackDown. So SmackDown always gets the backhand regardless. But this is just, it makes SmackDown look like a B show in comparison. I just really don't understand. I'm really throwing out a lot of different ideas for you guys and for myself. Because there's a lot of things that don't make sense about this decision, and I find it a little bit like a little bit of a lousy decision, because it doesn't really make a lot of sense in retrospect and for the future. I really don't see the need for the additional hour. It's like they can't figure out what they're doing wrong, so they want to like this is basically like an artist saying, I'm a shitty artist. But you know what? Maybe if I add more paper or make the canvas a little bit bigger for me to paint on, maybe it'll look a little bit better. No, what you're doing is you're extending the shit. The painting is still going to look fucking hideous. It's just on a larger scale. A larger scale of shit. That's all I'm gonna say. Um, oh, I'm definitely gonna comment more on this in the future. You best believe that.